Mel, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Bitcoin, let's talk about it. Happy Sunday to everybody. What I'm really seeing here is the 2-day chart. Each candle represents a 2-day price action. And what you're seeing here is that there's a cloud thing over here. We call it the Ichimoku cloud. It's basically calculated based on moving period averages. And what you're seeing here so far has been served as very good support for price action. And we have just recently bounced up from the 2-day Ichimoku cloud. I'm going to go back in the history to show you what I mean by, I think it's pretty decent support zone over here. And there's a potential for price to go down to like 58,000 and it could still end up being pretty bullish. And I'll show you why. Like, you just go back to price action over the last couple of years or so. It got pretty close to 2-day Ichimoku cloud. It didn't really quite touch it, but it got pretty close. Down here around August 2023, ended up breaking underneath the cloud over here, back tested once almost perfectly, got rejected, and then back tested twice, 3 times. Eventually was able to break through, did a little back test before going up further. Over here, what happened? Bounced to the bottom of the cloud and bounced up. What happened over here? Bounced to the top of the cloud, almost to the money, and bounced up a lot higher, right? And then in terms of the bear market, what did the 2-day Ichimoku cloud do in terms of the bear market? It also served as resistance from underneath, right? Resistance over here, pretty good resistance, pretty good resistance over here too. And if you also go through further, when it broke underneath the cloud, it was also very, very good resistance over here. And it also served as pretty good resistance over here on the back test when it failed to really try to push price up higher from that level. It really ended up just pushed down a lot further, right? So the 2-day Ichimoku cloud so far has been served as pretty decent resistance and support level for really over 2 years now. And right now we're getting back to that, and right now we're looking like we might be finding support again. If it breaks down, which I don't think necessarily is going to end up doing that, I'll tell you why. If it ends up breaking down, it could find some potential support here at bottom of the cloud around 58,000 or so. Another indicator that I think is very important to look at now, you're going to have to look at the weekly chart, because this is a weekly based kind of indicator, which is going to be the bull market support band. What is it doing? Well, it's supporting price during a bull market, kind of like what it says it's supposed to do, right? You see how it bounced over here, bounced over here, bounced over here, bounced over here, bounced over here. Initially, when it broke underneath, it tried to back test the bull market support band, got rejected, and it really took about a couple months before you're able to really flip that back from resistance to support again. And we finally back tested the bull market support band in April 2024, and again we back tested so far this past week, right? So we're at some pretty important support zone over here. Well, does it also serve as resistance during a bear market? The answer is yes, absolutely. Resistance, right? Resistance, support, right? So this is a pretty important zone over here, and because the 20-week moving average is going to be the red line over here, and the 21 exponential moving average is going to be the green line over here, because these are still more pointing upwards. The momentum is still pointing price up higher. So far it's still looking pretty decent, right? That's another reason as to why I think that we're right at support. A lot of people getting pretty bearish. They're thinking about 52,000, thinking about 48,000, thinking about potentially breaking down. I'm not sure about that. I'm really not sure about that. A lot of very, very nice hammer candles that happened over the last few months for Bitcoin, 1, 2, 3, and also just in general, we have a lot of wicks underneath of it. Basically, it's telling you that a lot of the liquidity down here around the low 60,000 to the high 50,000s or so have already been back tested. There's a lot of demand over here on the zone after the approval of Bitcoin ETF. Just seems like it just want to keep going higher, but because it went up too far too fast, it had to consolidate over here for a few months, which is completely understandable. I'll also show you a little bit as to why that is too, right? But because of all these wicks underneath below, because all these really nice hammer candles over here, I have a hard time necessarily seeing it going down much further beyond like 58,000, if it even goes down further at all. I think this might be it in terms of the consolidation. But I can be wrong, right? I mean, I don't have any insider information. I could completely be wrong. I'm just showing you what I'm seeing, right? Now, in addition to the bull market support band, I also want to show you the confluence in terms of why I think that we're also maybe a pretty decent support here. You see the bull market support band is pushing price right around 64 1,148, right? And you see that the blue line over here is also kind of serving potential support, even though price kind of dipped down here a little bit. But there's a potential for it to just end up being a little bit of a wick underneath. Or if price ends up closing below this level, that's okay too, because you need confirmation before you're saying that the level has been broken down. But so far, the blue line over here is 64,232. So you had a pretty confluent support zone over here. Now, what about is not 58,000? What's some of the levels underneath, right? But 56,000 also potentially be pretty decent support over here, because that's where the baseline or the kitchen line is located, right? So there's a lot of pretty decent things that are still happening. If you're also looking at the whale momentum, the whales haven't really left. Like, they've just been cooling down for like months now, right? But so has the volume. The volume really has been just showing you that all this price action over here, it may not mean much, because volume has just been declining. It's just been consolidating sideways after this big giant move all the way from like the 20,000 up to like the 70,000. And instead of coming down much further, it ends up just kind of going a little bit sideways over here. This might end up being a very, very nice bull flag before bullish continuation. Again, it's not the end of the world. It ends up going to like 58,000 or 56,000. It's not the end of the world. Although we already done that, so I'm not sure whether or not we need to do that, because we found pretty good support zone over here. So that is kind of what I'm seeing here with the Bitcoin chart. I am still in favor of it. And also, if you look at the monthly, wells have also not left yet, right? On the monthly, why is price not going up, higher for longer, faster, right? Why is price going consolidating sideways over here? Well, because you've made a big giant move already from the 20,000 up to the 70,000s. And you just got a bullish cross over here back in January 2024, but price has simply got way above the blue line, the Tenkan line over here, the conversion line over here. It just got way above it. What happened last time it got way above it? Price went sideways for about 6 months. Actually went back close to the Tenkan before it goes up higher, right? So instead of going down, so far it seems like we've just been going sideways over here, consolidating, waiting for the Tenkan to go up. In the month of July, the Tenkan, the blue line over here, is going to be minimally around 53,000. So it's going to get closer to price action, allowing price action to potentially break out above, because it's not so far away from the Tenkan. You're not going to end up dragging price sideways or down before going up higher. That's kind of what I'm seeing here with Bitcoin. It's a little bit overextended, and it's just been cooling down. It was a little bit overextended during these 6 months of up, right? It's just cooling down sideways. And so far, it's just got inside the monthly Bollinger Band, which is not really anything that concerning. We really haven't had any crazy RSI move up yet. Whales are still in. They're grading like 92, 93%. You have a little bit of Bollinger Band contraction here. We haven't really had any crazy like parabolic move up yet. Every single cycle for Bitcoin, you end up having, not to say that this cycle has to be it, right? I mean, that this could be the end of the cycle, where I know, but I don't think so. The whales don't think so, but if we are to have like a proper Bitcoin bull cycle, usually Bollinger Band ends up expanding a lot further, including lower Bollinger Band just gets pushed all the way down, right? And price continue right up the upper Bollinger Band to go up higher. But I'm just not really seeing that. I had came out with a video talking about top 10 reasons why I don't think Bitcoin has topped yet, and I think it's still applied. I just came out with that a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to know my thoughts in terms of what Bitcoin is going to do moving forward, please check out that video. And I'm not going to talk about that. Maybe I'll talk about that maybe again like next month. I'm not going to talk about that here anymore. Now, Ethereum. Do I think Ethereum looks better than Bitcoin? In the short term, I do. I mean, you're talking about, looks like the Bollinger Band wants to continue to expand higher, right, on the monthly. I'm just going to get rid of this here. Now, just looking at the Ichimoku cloud, comparing to Bitcoin, which looks a little bit overextended. Ethereum looks like it did all the appropriate back tests, right? It just came back down, touched the top of the cloud, touched the blue line over here, the Tenkan line over here, found support. Looks like it wants to go up higher. And it's trying to break above the resistance zone up here, which is completely understandable after it went up parabolically for 7 months, So I still favor, continuation for Ethereum. If you look at the weekly chart, a couple other things too in terms of why I favor continuation is because it's also back testing the large support band, which is also rising very, very strongly, right? It's also back testing the blue line over here, which is basically the Tenkan or the conversion line over here, around 34,000. The bullish support band underneath is around 3360. So you're finding a lot of pretty decent support, good for the support zone over here. The other thing is volume has also been kind of pathetic. You have this big giant green volume on high volume, right? Big giant green candle with high volume. And the next 4 candles, the bulls basically just taking a break and see what bears can do. Weeks on 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a very, very nice like double like tweezer bottom over here. So even if it goes down further, I think that there's a pretty strong demand zone down here. Could it go down further to, let's say, like 3,200? Could go down further to 3,200. Could go down further to like 3,100. There's going to be a pretty confluent support zone underneath, right? But does it have to do that? Maybe not. I mean, I think that we're finding some pretty strong support zone over here. It's just something to kind of think about. If it goes down lower, great. Buy more maybe. I mean, I don't know. Not financial advice. But the monthly chart looks good. Doesn't look overextended. The weekly chart also looks pretty good. I don't have much bad thing to say about Ethereum. You want to compare Ethereum to Bitcoin, you can do a chart called the ETH over Bitcoin chart. And in this chart, higher Ethereum goes relative to Bitcoin, the better the chart looks over here, right? You can see that Bitcoin has really outperformed Ethereum, or Ethereum has underperformed Bitcoin really ever since like December 2021. You've been underperforming Bitcoin for about 2.5 years now, right? And what are we doing? Well, we look like we might be having a little bit of a trend change, right? Very, very nice wick, very nice wick, very nice wick. Big giant green candle over here to push above the Tenkan and Kijun, back testing the Kijun, squeezing between the cloud and the Kijun line over here, looking like it wants to push up a lot higher. Looks like we have a lot of wicks underneath below here. So I think that there's a potential chance for Ethereum to kind of outperform Bitcoin here. That might come up pretty soon. Bullmarket support band, what is it doing? It's flipping it from resistance and trying to back test it as support, right? There's a lot of confluent zone over here that's trying to use as support to try and push price up a lot higher. In this particular case, trying to push Ethereum dominance over Bitcoin a lot higher from here, right? Again, this might be the beginning of a trend change. We'll see. Just want to double check one thing over here. The monthly Bollinger Band is still not favorable, but just looking at all these wicks underneath below, you have basically spent months number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 doing absolutely nothing, right? It's just been consolidating, and there might be a potential trend change that could be coming pretty soon, because you look at the monthly Ichimoku cloud, even though you have a bearish cross over here, things are kind of just going sideways over about 8 months, and you might be flipping the blue line of Tenkan over here from resistance to support. And even if this chart doesn't do anything, Ethereum over Bitcoin doesn't do anything, it just goes sideways, for the month of July, it's going to enter a green cloud. And when you enter the cloud that is green could potentially mean go, right? So it might end up pushing up through the cloud up here for the foreseeable future. We'll see what happens. Obviously, so far it's still underneath the weekly cloud, still underneath the monthly cloud, but it looks like it's really trying to find some support moving forward, and it looks like it's really trying to find some support here moving forward. And so with the price action, at least on the weekly chart over here, it does look bullish. So that is the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart. Let's talk about another one here, Solana. Solana is a little bit of, how should I say? Solana on the monthly does not look bearish at all. Bullish Tenkan cross over here, March 2024, just forming a nice bull flag after it went parabolic from $17 all the way to like $210, right? And when you have a big move like that, you expect consolidation, because it just can't keep going up higher for longer. It has to take a break, right? On the monthly chart, again, it's just way extended, way outside upper Bollinger Band for way far too long, and you're not getting punished for it. And so far on the month of June, we're not being underneath the upper Bollinger Band here again, which tells us that I think the consolidation probably had happened enough, and most likely we're going to allow Solana to kind of keep going up higher from here. So a couple of other things too, in terms of looking at the monthly, it does look like it's doing pretty decent. It looks like also we're going to try to break above this, one of these leading span lines over here. This is going to eventually be the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. The Ichimoku cloud hasn't formed yet, because Solana hasn't, this chart Solana hasn't been around for that long. But it looks like it's also trying to break inside the monthly Ichimoku cloud over here. So that's another bullish indication. Now on the weekly, it doesn't look as nice. On the weekly, it looks like it's kind of broken underneath support over here. It looks like it's just kind of breaking underneath both the Tenkan and Kijun. and there potentially be some room go up to 80s, right? I mean, is that going to end up playing out? I don't know. Probably not, but I'd be I would not do you right if I didn't show you that, right? Bollinger Band and also the Bollinger Support Band, what did it do? It broke underneath the Bollinger Support Band, right? So it's not like Bitcoin, it's not like Ethereum where it's finding support, it ended up breaking underneath of these indicators, right? So on the weekly, it doesn't look as good. On the monthly, it still looks pretty good. On the time frame wise, I generally favor the higher time frame, although short term there might still be maybe a little bit more volatility. But it also just looks like we're back testing this, breakout over here. You have a little bit of a decreasing in whale, especially for this week. But whales are still greater than 50%, so I'm going to still have to give whales the benefit of the doubt. You also have a lot of really nice wicks over here over the last couple of months, so I'm not sure whether or not you might end up feeling some of these wicks, but I'm not sure whether or not it's going to just completely plummet down, right? So on the weekly, it's showing us some signs for maybe some short-term careful cautiousness that you might need to exhibit some caution. But on the 2-week, like this is a 2-week chart over here. Look at Ichimoku Cloud. Look at what it's doing. It's just basically breaking through the Ichimoku Cloud and back testing it once, back testing it twice, right? That's exactly what it looks like it's trying to do. Same thing. You also look at the Super Ichi Cloud, which is a variant of the Ichimoku Cloud, but taking into account a super trend. So there's a lot more volume data in the Super Ichi Cloud, but also forms these, Tenkan cushion lines, also form a cloud over here for you to look at. Broke through the cloud very, very nicely, right? Reject it, eventually break through, back test it, maybe back test down here in the 114s range, potentially, right? Is it going to end up doing that? I don't know, right? Because it is still finding support at the 2-week Ichimoku Cloud, right? So I don't know in terms of how far down it's going to look, but this still looks like a nice bull flag. It could potentially go down even further, and the further it goes, I think the better buying opportunity it is, the better risk-reward ratio you have. But I'm just not sure whether or not it's necessarily going to go that far down below. Again, if it does, where's it going to go? Maybe 114, 112, somewhere around there. You have the kitchen over here down as pretty decent support, right? So something to kind of think about in terms of what you think Solana is going to do. I could be eating my words, but I think that it's probably less likely, although there's no guarantee that it's not going to, but it's probably be less likely for it to break all the way down to like 80. I think it's a little bit unlikely for it to break all the way down to the top of the Ichimoku Cloud. But we'll see. I'm not going to buy any more like Solana here. I'm probably just going to let it be. But, you are seeing some pretty interesting support zone over here. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to move on to the next one, which is Chainlink. Now, Chainlink, a lot of people get scared. I'm just going to say this. I understand where you're coming from. I understand that this looks like a head and shoulder pattern, and it scares the crap out of a lot of y'all, right? And so far, there's really like a whole lot of whales over here on the weekly. Right? This is a weekly chart, right? But I have reasons to believe that this is going to be a head and shoulder continuation pattern to push up a lot higher. Reason number one as to why I think that is, you look at a weekly Ichimoku Cloud, reject it, breakthrough, right? Well, we haven't back tested it yet until this week. We back tested the top of the Ichimoku Cloud almost to the money, almost. Right? So this back testing is a healthy thing for it to do. And because if you're able to really find good support over here, and this is a green Ichimoku Cloud, so it's probably going to end up serving as a pretty decent support, right? Over here is a red Ichimoku Cloud, that was very, very thick, so it had a hard time really breaking above until it starts seeing some vulnerability. Hey, the cloud's getting thinner and thinner, and it's starting to getting thinner and thinner, and it found the moment of vulnerability that pushed through the cloud during that time, and right now it's finding support on a relatively thick area of the cloud. So I think probably the support is going to end up holding. Another thing I think is bullish is I'm going to go to the monthly chart over here, and I'm going to show you like what we call like an EMA ribbon. This basically is consisted of I'm going to show you the setting over here. It's basically consisted of the 20 and 50 EMA, right? Top of it is going to be 20 EMA, bottom is going to be 50 EMA, and this is a monthly chart. So you're talking about 20 and 50 EMA on the monthly. What is it doing? Well, it was resistance, right? flip it, and you basically back testing this ribbon over here as support, right? Support, support, support. This is not a bearish thing for it to do. You know, this is something that is completely expected in a bull market for you to go up after you have all these green candles over here that closes above the upper Bollinger Band. You end up getting punished for a few months after that. So what, right? I mean, like, you have to cool down at some point. Whales are still more than 50% here on the monthly. They haven't really left, right? So far, I still favor this being a pretty decent chart because we're right at the weekly Ichimoku cloud support, and we also have flipped the EMA ribbon, the 2050 EMA ribbon, from resistance over here to support. So far it's looking pretty decent. Now it's probably going to end up dropping a lot lower after that, possibly, but I can't say that it's necessarily going to, right? Because you have some pretty decent support levels that I'm seeing. What you're seeing over here, you had a bullish cross over here on the monthly, bullish Tenkan crossover on the monthly back in March 2024, and probably just been oscillating up and down between the Tenkan and Kijun. I was hoping to find, you know, really good support over here to Tenkan Kijun before challenging the cloud up above, but so far it's just been oscillating. It's been like a little bit trendless over here, but that's okay. You know, I was showing you in terms of why I think that this was okay, because it's probably just back testing the ribbon back over here. Now, what are some of the concerning signs that I see for Chainlink? What if I'm wrong? What if this is not a head and shoulder continuation pattern? What if this is just a boring head and shoulder and go down to like $8 kind of pattern, right? Is that possible? Is that possible? It is possible, but again, you're at support, so I don't know. Whenever people get support, they always get a little bit bearish, they get scared. The head and shoulder pattern could work out. It doesn't necessarily have to target all the way to like $8. But the greater trend is up, right? I just showed you the monthly chart. The greater trend of the EMA ribbon is up, right? It's formed a higher high, it's been forming a higher low. I'm going to favor bullish continuation. Although on the weekly, I do want to show you a couple of things. One is it broken down underneath the bull line support band, like it did over here, back testing it, failed to hold, went back down, right? It's going to try to use this horizontal zone here as support, and it did knock on this horizontal zone over here as support for a very long time. So it's starting to get a lot of people scared that this support over here might get weaker and weaker and weaker, right? But again, like you're at the Surichi cloud, you're at the Ichimoku cloud. Like I'm just saying, like I'm gonna give this a benefit of a doubt. Second thing that, you know, beyond the one support band is also, if you look at the weekly Ichimoku cloud, is also underneath the Tenkan and Kijun, right? So you might have some resistance up around like 16 to 17 and a half over here before any bullish continuation. So that's just something you kind of think about. But overall, because of how it kind of bounced at the Ichimoku cloud over here, I'm you know, and because of the EMA ribbon that I was showing you, I'm still leaning bullish on this. Even if you look at the EMA ribbon over here on the weekly chart, you can see initially, like right now, we have a little bit of a breakdown underneath the weekly over here. It's broken underneath like the 50 EMA. So it's not perfect, right? Like could it go down further? I don't know. But I just want to kind of show you that there are some potential downsides because some of the indicators are no longer holding at support, but you also add a key support over here. So I'm going to done talking about Chainlink. If I was going to add to Chainlink, I think this might be a good area to add, but I probably won't because I already have a position. I've been talking about Chainlink like really all the way over here, so I'm not going to add anymore. I'm just going to let it be. Could it potentially go down all the way down here to the bottom of the cloud to like $11, 11.3? Possible. Again, we're at support. I'm going to be a little bit more bullish here. Lastly, I'm going to talk about Dogecoin. What is Dogecoin doing? Dogecoin is doing a whole heck of a lot of nothing. It's just been going sideways, and it's got a little bit of an ABC kind of correction to it. If you look at the Surichi cloud, it tells you a very, very good picture in terms of what it's doing, right? Rejected, 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 right? Went through, pushed through on very high volume, and then it's basically back testing the Ichimoku cloud, the Surichi cloud, sorry, once, twice, and three times on very much declining volume. Like, nobody wants to sell Doge. Nobody wants to sell Doge. This whole correction over here is all technical. Buyers have just been taking a break from like all this stuff out here, but all this just looks technical, right? You know, bounce, bounce, bounce. It does have a dead Cantonese bounce feeling to it, So could it potentially bounce back down to like 10 cents or 8 cents based on this Cantonese dead cat bounce feeling to it? Is possible, but the volume is also very pathetic. Like, do you expect it pierce through the Subishi cloud on the weekly here on low volume? Like, is that going to be sustainable? Can it potentially backtest like 10, 10 and a half up here before going up higher? Like, possible, right? Is it going to potentially come back down to like $8 to backtest the top of the cloud on the regular HMO cloud before going up higher? Possible, right? So far, the volume's not really telling me that it's going to happen. Whales, yeah, you got a little bit of weaker whales over here, but it's still greater than 50% here on the weekly. On the monthly, you still got greater than like 67 or 70% here on the monthly. So I'm just not sure. It's also just like Chainlink has been oscillating between the Tenkan and Kijun over here, a little bit trendless for the last few months, which again is not completely unexpected after this big giant green candle over here is just pushed way outside of Bollinger Band, and for price to kind of go sideways over here to cool down, it's not completely unexpected, right? So I'm not really that worried. Like, if you look at the whole cycle analysis, I still think that this Bollinger Band squeeze means something is probably going to end up pushing up price a lot higher. That's just like the Bollinger Band squeeze over here, just like Bollinger Band squeeze over here, right? I also find that you look at the Ichimoku cloud, like it's been doing the same thing over the years. Basically, you have a bullish cross over here of the Tenkan and Kijun back in around March of 2024, maybe April 2024, somewhere around there. Just like you had a bullish cross over here, right? Except for this one, bullish cross happened, and then price just went crazy, right? Here, bullish cross happened, you wait sideways for a few months, which is kind of what a lot of the high beta stocks have been doing. It doesn't really bother me that much, and you do have a little bit of resistance above. If it ends up breaking above the zone, go up higher, and if it ends up breaking down below, you got a lot of support like 10 cents, 8 cents, right? But it's just been ranging sideways, just been a little bit trendless on the short term. On the long term, what did it do? It formed a higher high, and right now it's forming a higher low. And all of this stuff is really actually looking pretty bullish. It looks like it's a very, very nice Adam and Eve pattern over here, and we're just back testing this Adam and Eve breakout here, just like we did over here, right? Adam and Eve bottom over here, and just like even before, like Adam and Eve bottom over here. So I still think this is a little bit of more of a back test. I still think that it's going to end up having some bullish continuation, and I still think this is a higher high and higher low. So I'm still in favor. I think Dogecoin is going to do pretty well moving forward, and I'm not really that concerned about it. Yeah, so I think I talked about some of the major ones that you guys care about: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Chainlink, and Doge. Please feel free to let me know what you think, and we'll go from there. Take care, bye.